Hello and welcome back to Asian Cinema Season 2, and today's movie vlog is actually suggested by Connie, which I was surprised by. Well, not really, I knew that you wanted to watch this again, and it will be the
Great movie.
first time I've seen it on Blu-ray, I think, because I downloaded it the first couple of times. So, Your Name, the incredible, not so recent film from Makoto Shinkai. He actually just released his newest film in Japan, Weathering with You, I think. Connie wants to look at the...
Not that, no, namae.
Yeah, that's the Japanese title. So this is like the nice super duper deluxe UK edition, and I haven't popped the disc in yet. I think I bought that 2 years ago now, actually, almost 2 years ago. So you wanted to watch it again? That's about it, really, isn't it? I mean, you loved it the first time, right? So yeah.
But it's been a while now.
It has been a while.
A couple years, so
yeah.
And I think it will inspire me to keep painting.
Yeah, because it came out 2000. It was my favorite film of 2016. So it's been 3 years since I first saw it, and then I watched it with you, and then that was it. But I remember, like, not to get... this will be a very short intro, but first time watching this film, I won't forget for a while the reveal halfway through the film. There's like a bit of a twist, a revelation. And I literally remember I was lying on the bed at the time, I just sat up and I literally leaned into the TV and I was like,
see, I
what?
can't remember what that is, so I'm looking forward to that now.
It was like literally a jaw-dropping twist, and I still, like, yeah.
I'm so glad I don't remember what that is.
I vividly remember, and I downloaded it, so it was like a copy with like, it was like 720p, it was a little bit pixelated, there was like different subtitles all over the screen, but I thought, I'm just dying to see this film, so I watched it, and yeah, so looking forward to watching it on Blu-ray now. And I think we did a Makoto Shinkai marathon a couple of years ago. We watched 3 of his films in one day. What was I forget the first one. It was like a short film he did. Then there was
5 seconds or something.
5 centimeters. No, I think we did. No, we did
5 centimeters a second.
per second. We did that in a separate video, and then the other one we did was The Place Beyond Our Youth or something. I forget the title of it now.
It's the one with a horrible ending with a music video and stuff, wasn't it?
Right, yeah.
The movie was great, and then it was just like...
That's 5 centimeters per second, yeah.
Oh.
But then we did like 3 in one day, a short film, his first feature film, and then also Garden of Words, which was great. But Your Name is his most recent film, and Connie's going to put her pizza on. I have actually seen every Makoto Shinkai film now, really. It'd be interesting. I don't think I've got time to go and watch them all again and review them all, but I'm a big fan of him as a director. I've loved seeing his progression through everything that I've seen, all of his feature films. I've watched a lot of his short film stuff. I think he's a great storyteller, but I do think that in every film that he's done, there's been little weaknesses here and there. Like visually, he has such a flair and style that he has become his own. But I really do think truly that everything that he had done up until Your Name kind of just perfectly coalesced into this masterpiece of a film. Like, it's so funny and, again, jaw-dropping, gorgeous to look at, involving, gripping. It's just such a great film. I'm hoping now that it'll hold up. And I'm not like, it wasn't that good this time around. But yeah, I love this film, and I do think it's a perfect culmination of all of his skills in one movie. So looking forward to revisiting it.
Oh, me too.
Perfectly timed. Alright, so let's get the obligatory blue tuber. Your Name, you know, holding up the Blu-ray. Let's get out of the way and I can sit back and relax and actually talk about Your Name, which I don't think I've ever really done properly. I think I talked about it in my The List video for 2016 because it was my favorite film of 2016 and probably in my top 20 films of 2016 video as well. But I've never reviewed it, and I don't think this is the right time to do it either. I mean, I'm going to talk about the film, but I feel like this film deserves like a proper review, like a proper well thought out, in depth kind of thing, with spoilers and everything. But I'm going to keep it spoiler free. And Connie's gone to bed at this point, but we are going to hear some brief words from Connie that I recorded just before she went to bed. So let's head over to that clip now, and hopefully this jumbled mess will make some form of sense. And then we'll come back to me, and I'll talk about my thoughts on the film. So here we go. Okay, so this is the part where Connie will be joining us to talk about the film briefly before going to bed. So how did you feel about revisiting it for the second time?
I feel like it was better than the first time.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. I like that.
Well, the first time, whenever those little music video parts were in,
Mm-hmm.
it really put me off, but I was prepared this time, so I was like, okay, it's fine. And I really liked the musician. I think I used to listen to that exact band or guy.
Radwimps, isn't it?
Ah, well, there you go. Yeah, so I used to listen to them before I moved to Japan. And I was kind of prepared for some things, but I didn't remember everything. And there's just so many parts in this that's kind of like that silence that gets you, or like that shock that gets you as well.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. Even just the pen drop, that's kind of like
Sure. Yeah.
like hold your breath kind of thing. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
All those freaking I want to paint everything.
Mm.
It's so pretty. Like whoever did this, whoever the artists are, like I want to see all of their movies in the future. It's probably one of the prettiest animations. Yeah, it's really late. I am usually by now I'm usually asleep.
I didn't. One of the prettiest.
One of the prettiest animations.
Oh, animations. Okay, yeah.
I did say
sure.
that. You got my one. Yeah, it's just great. The story itself, it's never boring. It's funny. It's emotional. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's stressful. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. It's a masterpiece, pretty much, I think.
And you rarely say that, to be fair. Like.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I knew that I liked this one, but I guess I view it even more differently now that I started painting and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I look at it in a different way, like more artistically as well.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't artistic before. Yeah, but even more now. Okay, it's late.
I might have just been like imagining this, but there's a few times in the film where like a really gorgeous shot would come on screen, and it almost sounded like you going, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I didn't do
no,
that.
okay, that's what it sounded like.
It might have been
But
Lily or Shelby.
But I would say some of the visuals are like mouth-wateringly like.
Yeah.
Especially like when
I think I actually wanted to say that at some point when they were walking up the mountain and stuff. I wanted to go like, it's mouth-watering in a way.
like especially when the comet splits and just the visual of that is just.
Yeah, I really like just the scenery and stuff like that, but it's just so well put together too.
Yeah, that's the. It's not just a pretty film for the sake of it. Like
No.
it's a great story wrapped up inside it.
And it's I mean, how many days it takes just to draw and paint those sceneries, and then they're in the shot for like 1 to 3 seconds.
Some of them, yeah, like really fast.
It's
swaths,
like
yeah.
that, but you see everything anyway. It's really good.
Yeah. Did you remember like the very ending, like how it wraps up?
No, I was stressing about
Yeah,
it
I was
because
wondering
I
if-
couldn't remember what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, no, it's good.
Okay.
It's probably one of my favorite animes.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it definitely is one of my favorite. I don't know if it's the top one, but it's visually it definitely is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for sticking around. Okay. All right then. So, back to me, and this was great. This was really great to revisit this film, to watch it again. It was nice that Connie suggested it. She's like, I'd really like to watch Your Name again. I thought, do you know what? I can go for that. And before I get to the film, I just had to record this experience. I mean, it is a movie vlog, so kind of the situation of the evening and everything is relevant. I made some chicken and chips tonight. Southern fried chicken, Tesco Southern fried chicken steaks, and some chips, which is a meal that I have had. I can't call it a meal. It's just some frozen food thrown together, but it's a dinner choice that I have gone to year after year after year. Actually, not when we were in Norway, actually, because they don't have the Southern fried chicken, but this is something I've had hundreds of times and countless times. And it's always reliable. I know I'm gonna like it, even if the chicken isn't cooked. You know, like it's overcooked maybe a little bit, or it's slightly burned, or maybe just the breadcrumbs aren't too good on this particular batch. You know, there's all certain things can kind of make it not great, but I just love Southern fried chicken, so it's always at least I'm gonna enjoy it a little bit. I'm going into way too much detail, but I just had to register this and remember it in years to come because this was perfect, like, the perfect Southern fried chicken and chips. Like, it's probably top 10 best dinners I've ever had. Everything about it was perfect. Like, the chicken was cooked to perfection. It was just the right amount of texture. The portions were perfect. Like, I wasn't full afterwards, but I was really content. The chips were amazing. I thought I would kind of quote unquote splurge and get the £1 more expensive finest chips just to see if they did taste any better, and oh boy did they. So to go along with this great film, I had a great meal. I had a can of vanilla Coke that's been sitting in the fridge for a couple of weeks, waiting for the right moment for me to have it, and every sip was perfect and beautiful. I mean, it's one of those nights where the food just goes perfectly, the film's great. I just loved the experience of watching this again, from not just the movie, but the food and the kind of, yeah, it was just great. So, that out of the way, let's talk about Your Name a little bit. No spoilers. I know that some people are familiar with this film. I'd say this is probably in recent years the most well-known non-Studio Ghibli anime film. I know that quite a few people who are aware of this. Obviously, there's quite a few people who might not be, but I'll be sticking spoiler free. But I will tell you a little bit about the plot of the film. It revolves around two high school students who live in different places. We have Taki, who lives in Tokyo and he studies there, and then we have Mitsuha, who lives in a rural setting out in the country, this beautiful location, this massive kind of lake, and the town is kind of dotted around the shore of the entire lake, and it's a beautiful, stunning location. But Mitsuha, she's frustrated with country life, and I think at one point at the beginning she does say something to the effect of, "I wish I'd been born a boy who lives in Tokyo." She wants to go to the city, and very quickly at the beginning of the film, Taki wakes up in Mitsuha's body, and she wakes up in Taki's body, and every few days this switch will occur, so it's very much a body swapping, body switch comedy, really. So there's a lot of comedy of errors, and Taki coming across as feminine when Mitsuha is in his body, and vice versa. And so there's a lot of humor in how both of these kids' friends and family are reacting to them, going, "You were really weird yesterday." Like, they say to Mitsuha, like, "You came into school yesterday with, like, bad hair." Like, she's, like, mortified, like, "I did what?" And they soon realize what's going on. They leave messages for each other, and eventually they actually set up a system where they kind of report to each other on their smartphones every day, like, "Okay, this is what I've done. You have a date next week." He's like, "I don't want a date," So I love the relationship that evolves between Mitsuha and Taki, because they never meet. It's all, but they inhabit each other's bodies. There's a very personal, intimate connection they have, because they've both of them have felt what it's like to be in each other's skin. And there's humorous ways they go about that. There's a recurring gag where Taki is grabbing his boobs when he's in Mitsuha's body, and I kind of thought that the film could go down a really creepy angle with that, but it's played just right, where it's just like they've animated like Mitsuha's face when Taki is inside her body, just kind of like just looking off into the distance, very like male kind of. I don't know. There's such a personality that is evoked through her face when he is in her body at times. That the whole kind of boob groping thing I thought was hilarious, and the way her sister reacts to that. There's so many great moments in the film, and as I was saying, I do think this is Shinkai's kind of culmination. This is like everything that he's been finding these great little pockets of brilliant storytelling throughout his career in all of his films, and all of them for me before this, prior to Your Name, have had little flaws here and there. Like that didn't quite tie itself together properly. That could have been a little bit better. This, I just think, for the style of stories that he tells at least, is pretty much perfect. For my tastes, maybe the way that the characters look is very anime-esque, very like the big eyes and everything like that. I don't love that style, and I do think that the music video montage segments in the film, they're not cheap, but they almost feel like they're too pedestrian and too mainstreamy for a film this stunning. Like if I don't know, but I do like them because those montages give you a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time, and the music, which I quite enjoy the music. I don't love it, but it's certainly, it feels very kind of teenagery, to the point where I almost feel like I shouldn't be loving this film as much as I do, because I feel like it's almost not aimed at me. But the music video style that Shinkai has used many times throughout his career, not always, but I don't think there's one of those montages in Garden of Words, for example, which feels like a much more mature film than probably actually all of his films maybe. But in Your Name, there's these key sequences every now and then where the pop song will come in and we'll get a montage. But I mean, the visual storytelling in these montages is excellent, because you get a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, even to the point where you're getting like flash frames, like as Connie was saying, like maybe a frame that will be on screen for like maybe a second, and like it's a beautifully drawn background, and then on to the next one, but he kind of I don't know, just the editing of it is really great, and the editing is a really strong point in the film overall, like the way that those pieces are put together and the way that he tells the story visually is great, but then the characters are there as well, and it's a romance, and I love how the connection between Taki and Mitsuha is portrayed in the film, because it is very much a movie in which these characters don't meet, at least not in the traditional sense, because they're swapping bodies, and of course into the story comes the possibility of them actually meeting each other, and that's where the film takes a real shift, and I love that twist shift in the middle of the film where more is revealed about the situation between the two, and it just throws everything for a loop. And again, I'll never forget the first time I saw that reveal. It's jaw dropping for me. Obviously, it doesn't have the same impact now that I know that it's coming, but it still is quite literally breathtaking. There's a few moments in the film that still are just like, you can feel a pin. You can feel like you could hear a pin drop. It's the building up of certain parts of the story to this kind of crescendo, and then like the silence that will be dropped in, or the sound that will be dropped out, I should say, and the silence kind of just resonates, and you just feel it, and it's like, wow. And there's a couple of moments like that in the film, and I did notice actually this time around, and I don't want to kind of go into it for kind of spoilery reasons, but the very beginning of the film kind of ties in with the ending of the film. I didn't really notice that before, where if you're really paying attention, you'll kind of have an idea of certain things that happen later on in the film. When there's a lot of tension in the third act, like, oh my god, who's gonna, like, what's gonna happen here? Is that person gonna make it out? And then if you watch the opening of the film, it's quite clear that, well, it's all there really. Now I was like, oh, okay, so that kind of is right there on Front Street. If you're really thinking about it, but nevertheless, the tension that's built up in the third act and the whole kind of scenario that is unfolding is just brilliant. Like, it's one of those kind of really stressful things where, like, there's real danger going on in the story, and you're just like, oh my god, you're rooting for the characters to kind of get everything in place and to kind of save the day. And that's not the kind of story I would have imagined from the first, like, half an hour of the film. It's a light, bouncy, fluffy body swap comedy, and then it changes to more of this kind of romance, and then the obviously fantastical element of them swapping bodies to begin with is delved into further. There's a spirituality to it, and then we head into this third act where there's like real stakes that I wouldn't have expected from a film, that starts so kind of innocently and kind of light and fluffily. That's not a word. It's light and fluffy, and I'll leave that one in for free though. I was an abomination of trying to express myself, and I'll gladly leave that in the video for your enjoyment. And anyway, so I don't want to kind of go into too much more than that, but the ending's one of those kind of breathtaking moments for me where it's such a perfect way to end a film like this. It is such a great way to end. It leaves you wanting more, but it gives you enough that you really want, And then just the way that the camera pans up in that last shot, and then the song begins, and it starts with just the singing before the actual kind of music kicks in, and then the kind of the title screen at the end is just like, gets me on my chest. It's really fucking great. So this is just a joy to revisit, and definitely a film to go back to again and again. Really intrigued to see his new film, Weathering with You, I believe it's called. I'm assuming it's probably not going to get a release over here until next year now. I think maybe it's showing at a few film festivals, things like that, but it's not getting like the proper wide release just yet. But definitely intrigued to see more of what he's doing. But I think that this is a real special film. Like, it just, I think of this film, I just think of these beautiful, backgrounds and stuff. And I think we mentioned previously, like, yeah, it's got these beautiful images and stuff, but it isn't style over substance. It has style and substance. One of my favorite scenes is the I don't even know what to call it, when Taki has the vision in that cave, and you get to see some backstory that we weren't previously kind of privy to regarding to Mitsuha's family, which I thought was really nice that we got to get some more clarification on that. Just the way that this again, it drip feeds you these little bits of information without being too obvious about it, and then that vision sequence, the style of animation is beautiful, and it's completely different to the rest of the film. It's more traditional style. It's minimalist at the same time. Just a stunning sequence, I think, and I love how it changes things up a bit for one sequence, which is really nice. And anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I love the film. And I feel like I've only just scratched the surface, really. There's so much to talk about, but I'll leave it there for now. Finally made a video on this film, and I still feel like it's very woefully inadequate. I'll get my words out right. So one day in the future, I'd like to do like a full-bore review of the film, maybe. But for now, that has been a fairly lengthy, I think, by this point, movie vlog on the... I'm going to agree with Connie and call it the masterpiece, Your Name. Phenomenal film, and that's about it. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed joining us on this movie night vlog, and I hope you're enjoying Asian Cinema Season 2, and I'll see you in the next one. It's very late. I feel like I'm kind of slowly losing grip on, keeping this thing together with my words and sentences, which are slowly failing me. So with that, enjoy Sheldy cleaning herself, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and calling into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.